everybody, it's me, Steve SCHNEE, and you are watching the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I just want to weigh in on the whole AI thing. To start off with, before I just go into a little explanation that, my view of this is I cannot stand the thought of AI and music. I don't mind when people use computers to enhance their sounds. Let's say somebody writes a song and they recording it on their home studio or in a recording studio, and they use, computers to create, a music bed, some keyboards and drums and stuff. But the actual art itself was created by a human. That I'm perfectly fine with. But when the actual piece of music is created by AI, then there's a problem there. And I don't remember. There's some country artist that was #1 on the digital charts or something. Ferngully butt muffin, let's call him. And, #1 on the digital charts, I guess. Why is Ferngully butt muffin #1? Because people are listening, buying, checking it out. They're doing whatever. Some of those numbers are going to be, people checking it out, out of curiosity. This AI, or the whole concept behind AI, creating music with AI, dates back decades. And it dates back to the whole music by committee theory, where somebody would be sitting in a room and they'd say, oh, you know what? These kinds of chord changes, plus these kinds of lyrics, plus this kind of beat, this is what is infiltrating the top 10, top 20, top 40. This is why, music by committee started, is because they saw that these original artists that were creating music for art's sake, they wanted to get in on the money game because they saw that Elvis was doing really well. So let's capitalize on Elvis. But, we can't get anybody with those swaying hips and all this stuff. Well, let's get some teen idol. We'll put Fabian out there, and we'll write songs that go along with what Elvis is doing, what Pat Boone is doing. And all of a sudden, you have this mixture of, the rough and tumble Elvis and the, clean cut Pat Boone, and he comes out to be Fabian. Now, I'm not knocking Pat Boone, nor am I knocking Fabian. There is a place for that. There is an audience for that. And the people who are listening to AI, it's the same theory. They are creating music. They are creating an artist, a mixture of all the stuff that sells in order to make a buck. It's called the music business. And that's really what it boils down to. It is a business. And it has started many years ago. As much as I hate to say it, the Monkees were part of that. That was a group created by committee. Now, thankfully, they broke out of that cage, and they took the Monkees to the next level. I believe that that's why they've lasted longer than a lot of other bands. In terms of popularity. In fact, the Monkees' popularity now is probably more, higher. There's more people that love the Monkees now than 50 years ago. Which was a little while after the Monkees broke up. But unfortunately, they were part of the machine. And that's really what it is. It's just a slick machine creating music for a certain audience. You get the teen groups, even going back to, let's say go back to the 90s, the boy bands, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, blah, blah, blah. Then you go up to the BTS, the K-pop. And this is the stuff that sells. So what happens is one particular band works with that machinery behind it, that, music by committee. And then they start saying, well, if it's going to work for one, it's going to work for two, for four, for eight. So that's what creates this whole glut of these types of bands. But the boy band angle was always popular because that was going to appeal to a certain audience, certain age, and then they would grow out of it. And then the labels like I said, the music business, they'd have another band that was slightly older, ready to take over for those, preteens. Now all of a sudden the teens had a band. And then when they got a little older, there was another band that the labels had manufactured. And that's just business. That's just the way it's always been. If you want to blame somebody for AI and for music by committee, then blame the people out there who buy it. Here on YouTube, I'm not the audience for music by committee, AI, anything like that. I am not that audience. I'm going to go for the real artists, the ones that write from the heart, the ones that, maybe sat in their room for 8 years and just made demo after demo and after demo, and then, improved in their songwriting and matured and all that kind of stuff. Those are the artists that I care about the most. It's got to feel real to me. And that brings me, again, everything brings me back to AI because that's the subject of this video. I'm just giving you sort of a broader look at it. AI has always been here in different forms. The AI now is one guy typing in the words, country, driving truck, drinking beer, blah, 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 enter. And then a song pops out. And they put it out under the name, Ferngully Butt Muffin is the name of the artist. And then people go, wow, have you heard Ferngully Butt Muffin? Then all of a sudden, everyone's subscribing to Ferngully's Spotify page, YouTube page, blah, 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 because they like the song. And maybe they don't know that Ferngully doesn't exist. And also, think about this. Ferngully is going to live forever. He's not going to be like, oh, did you hear that Ferngully Butt Muffin died? There's an audience for it. I'm not the audience for it. Maybe you might be. Maybe you might like some of the songs by these artists. I think the best way to not let this grow is to avoid it, is to not support it, is not go to that artist's Spotify page. You can go listen once if you want to, satisfy your curiosity. You can go maybe watch a video if you want to satisfy your curiosity. But the more you support it, the more the makers of this music are going to go, well, Ferngully's selling well. It happens all the time. If Taco Bell came out with a cucaracha taco, which is a cockroach taco, and it didn't sell, then they're not going to do it. And nobody's going to pay attention. Everyone's going to complain that Taco Bell had a cucaracha taco. Well, what if Taco Bell put out a cucaracha taco and it sold? Then Del Taco is going to say, wow, we're going to put out our own cucaracha fiesta taco. And then McDonald's is going to say, we're going to put out our quarter pounder with cucarachas. And this is how things like that grow. But maybe the people that we should think about are the people that don't really care too much. They just want to listen to music, just have music on in the background. Music as a wallpaper. That's what we have to concern ourselves about. Now, they're not doing themselves any harm. They're not doing us any harm. But ultimately, the more you support it, the more you listen to it, the more you buy it, the more of it is going to come. And the great artists that are sitting home right now, writing a song, those are the people that are going to suffer a year or two from now when they take those demos to a label and the label says, no, it's not as good as Ferngully Butt Muffin. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me, I'm Ferngully Butt Muffin.